Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. This is the Haenel Jaeger NXT. This is the synthetic stock version. Now 2-3 years ago I reviewed the laminate stock version and it turned out to be a superb rifle. Well, this is the synthetic stock version, so a little bit cheaper, a little bit lighter weight and very, very durable for those arduous weather conditions. Now, I first encountered this rifle before Christmas. I was on a hunting trip in Sweden and the weather was atrocious, wet, horrible, nasty, and we were wild boar hunting, deer hunting, things like that. And I have to say I spent an awful lot of time looking at a rifle that was covered in water. I was out hunting for 2 days, I didn't have any chance for cleaning, anything like that, and you know what, no corrosion whatsoever occurred on the rifle. Wasn't this specific rifle, but it was identical to this rifle. So that for one is a box ticked. It will do that. So looking at it from front to back, I've got on here a Haenel moderator. Now this is Haenel's own moderator. It actually seems to be very, very effective, to be honest, and I'm quite pleased with it. It's about 200mm long, 50mm in diameter, and it works very, very well. Just over 400 grams in weight, and I'm happy with that completely. The barrel is cold hammer forged. It's 20 inches long or 510mm. It's got an 18mm external diameter at the muzzle, which is threaded 15x1 for that moderator. It is fully free floating within the stock, and although it's not fitted at the moment, you do get a foresight and a rear sight with it. The foresight's removable with 2 screws. I've left the rear sight on because I don't need to remove that, and those will work if that's what suits you. But of course it does have 2 Picatinny bases as part of the action, so there's a machined into steel the action, makes it scope fitting or fitting a red dot sight. Very, very simple, effective, and assured no loss of zero, because you're never going to get any movement between the bases and the action. The action itself's got a recoil lug on the front of it. I'll put some pics on screen of the action out of the stock. The stock is heavily reinforced with webbing inside. It's synthetic. It's got 2 small bedding pillars on the front and rear of the mag well, which is where the bedding screws are, or the action screws are. Now, the actual sling stud is on the front here for the sling. So I haven't shot it from a bipod, but when you take the stock off, you can see, well, there is actually a reinforcement here, so you can drill through and put a screw in that for a bipod, so that's no issue at all either. Just a modification you can do if you want to. While we're looking at this in detail, we've got a 4-inch easily grip, the space for your fingers, and it's got a copolymer moulding with these sort of rubberized inserts into it, which give a lot more tactile feel and grip to them. Overall length is 1040mm or 41 inches. Overall weight is 3.1 kilograms or 7 pounds. Length of pull is 368mm, which is 14.5 inches. The detachable magazine has a 5-round capacity, and you can also fit an additional one in the chamber. Trigger pull is 752 grams or 26 ounces, and it's a single stage unit. Barrel length is 510mm or 20 inches with a 15x1 thread at the muzzle for a moderator or brake. Diameter at the muzzle is 18mm, and the barrel is cold hammer forged with a 1 in 11 inch twist rate. The rifle is available in 308 or 3006 at the moment in the UK. So the thing you really want to know the most about is the Jaeger action. So this is a very unusual action because it is sort of a straight pull, but it combines some of the elements of a straight pull with some of the elements of a turn bolt action. Now, how shall I show you this? Right, when you push the bolt forward, that bolt handle actually goes down like that, and that is actually decocked, and if you click it then forwards, it's ready to fire. This is a safe dry fire. Click, and then you just literally back, forward, and you're ready to go again. Now, although you can decock the bolt like that, you can't open the bolt, and if you want to open the bolt, you have to use this little button on the back. So if we go back there from a closed position with it cocked, decock it like that, or if you want to just open it, put your thumb on that side and the bolt just comes open like that. Very easy and intuitive to grip, very ergonomic, because you know your fingers are just on the bolt handle there, your thumb's there, and everything's well away from the trigger, which is also very nice. And that decocking system means that you're not going to have an issue with a rifle that's dangerous in use, or when not in use and being carried and transported around. So how does this work? Well, the bolt release catch is actually nestled down just here to the left side of the bolt. So if I press that down, you do have to have a little knack with this. The bolt actually then twists as it comes back. So you've got a fairly conventional 3-lug bolt here. You've got an extractor claw there and an injector pin there. That all works, you know, pretty much par for the course. What you don't normally see on a bolt is you've got this geared mechanism here, and if I maybe just bring that a little bit closer, you might see that better, but I can put a picture on screen if not. And what happens is that when that bolt comes back, when the bolt rocks back, that bevel gear mechanism actually turns the bolt shaft itself like a conventional bolt, in fact, and that then locks in the abutments up front. So that is what unlocks the bolt. So it's a sort of combined mechanism, but it does effectively give you that straight pull system. And importantly, what you can see here on the bolt is actually a primary extraction system. So that means that you don't struggle with getting cartridges out, you know, when they're sticking, because that forces the bolt back off the action. So unlike some straight pull rifles where you don't really have a lot of primary extraction strength, this one you do. Now this is a brand new rifle. I've had about 60 rounds through it and it has got a lot slicker as time has gone by. But one thing I will say on the video is this, that because of that cocking system, when it's in your shoulder, if you're shooting from a bipod, for example, like this with a resting hand there, you'd open the bolt and you lock it down like that. So you do actually notice there's a slight pushing forward of the rifle out of your shoulder, which is why it's more of a hunting rifle, because you're going to have a forward hand there. Now, one thing you might notice is I'm having to operate that to open the bolt. Now the reason is if the gun is unfired, the bolt is effectively locked. But if I fire it, no problem at all. If I don't fire it, that won't come back any further than decocked, so I have to press the button on the side. But that means it's a very safe operating rifle, and once you've got used to it, it's actually very fast and intuitive operable to use. The trigger is a single stage unit. I'm just going to do another safe dry fire on camera here. It's a bit awkward dealing with it over the bench. It's a single stage unit, it's very crisp in use, and that broke at 752 grams, which is about 26 ounces. It's very nice to use, totally consistent, and although they don't really advertise it, there's no external adjusters, there are some screws on the inside of the mechanism if you want to have a look at that, but maybe I'd leave that alone because, to be fair, the trigger is actually very nice in operation. While we're here, you can see we've got a nice curved pistol grip here. It's quite a deep curve on the end, but that does give you good fast operation, and of course you're not using a thumb hold that you've got to draw your hand sideways from the rifle on, so that is all quite fine. And on the underside, 5-round magazine, it's a polymer magazine, goes in 2 columns, they all clip in from the top, and you'll see on the video that when I go for that extra shot afterwards, I can literally just throw a cartridge in there, it will load, it will fire, no problem at all. Or if I want to reload the magazine, you know, between shots, I can put them in there, click them in the top. That's the great joy of a 2-column magazine. Anybody who moans about polymer magazines, get with the 21st century, because these things are superb. There's a couple of other manufacturers use a very similar system to this. It's not identical, but they also show rifles that work superbly well. And I have to say, on a sporting rifle, this is the kind of magazine system I would choose if I was building my perfect gun. The receiver's got a closed top on it, so it's strong, it's stiff. You've 2 action screws on the bottom to remove it. The bedding system is in there, it's all very heavily reinforced, and it's got 2 steel pillars on it. They're only small steel pillars, but they do the job, and there's no compression. When you tighten the action in and out the stock, you can feel there's no bedding stress that's moving the barrel within the forend. And the forend itself is stiff, so you're not getting any intermittent contact. The free float remains throughout. That's of course very important if you're shooting from sticks or from a tripod, or if you are on a bipod and you're quite heavily, manipulating the rifle without any delicacy. It really does make it easy to shoot and a lot less hassle to use. Now, length of pull as it arrived to me was 368mm, which is 14.5 inches. Now, these recoil pads are removable, and I believe if you squeeze them here, you can get them out. I haven't actually experimented with that, but they are available in different thicknesses, and of course, you don't want that to be too easy a removal process, because you wouldn't want to drop them in the fill. But at the end of the day, they're available in different lengths, so you can adjust length of pull. And in terms of fast adjustability, you've got a spring-loaded cheek piece here which pops up and down. You can set that where you want it, so if you're on your red dot sight in the winter for wild boar, you drop it down lower, and if you're on the scope in the summer for longer shots, up it goes here. More of the copolymer effect here. It's tactile around the grip, and it's assured even when it's wet, because believe you me, I'll put some photos in, it was forever wet when I was on the hunting trip. And that black cheek piece contrasts nicely with the green of the stock, and it matches well with that copolymer there. Again, the recoil pad on the back, it's got a curved top, it's a homogeneous finish, so it doesn't have any soggy spots in it, and it does lock well into your shoulder. And you can really adjust the cheek piece that quickly to set it up for your use. Regular sling stud on the bottom, that's all fine, easy to use, and there we go. Those are the essential basics of the rifle. So how did it shoot? Well, it shot very well, to be fair. I used 3 different types of ammunition through it. It's 308, so I've got lots of it. And you can see the groups who've shot on screen. They're all sub-minute of angle. These are all shot at 100 metres. That one is actually the group I shot when I was standing off sticks at 150 metres. And okay, it's a little bit high and right, but I was using the same ammo as I was using there. And of course, it's just that it wasn't zeroed exactly. And of course, the group's a little bit larger because I'm shooting standing off sticks, not laid prone, shooting off a rest bag. That was a shot I attempted to spot a fly with, which I missed on, and that's just another group I shot when I was zeroing it, which again is probably the smallest group I shot of them all, and that was with 165 grain Hornady SST bullets. So I'm very happy with that. Muzzle velocities from a 20-inch barrel were representative. They're all listed in the actual details from the chronograph on screen. So realistically, it's a rifle I have hunted with. It's a rifle I've shot on the range with, and I'm happy with it in both respects. I think it's a pretty reasonable price. It's £2,008 in the UK, But what's most important, and one of the hardest things to see, is that I ran the bore scope through it, and I'll put a little bit of the video on screen, because the barrel is actually, for a factory-made rifle, Cold Hammer Forged, it actually seems to be a very good, very well finished barrel, and throughout use it's given me no issues with terms of fouling up badly or any problems cleaning it out. So I'm really happy with the Haenel, and I think it's a very underappreciated rifle. Now, is it the fastest straight pull mechanism there is? I used to think it was one of the best ones, and it is still probably an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Unfortunately, there is one that I do think is faster, but this is a good one. Recoil transfer through the rifle is very linear, there's no resonance through the stock, and the stock doesn't appear to make particularly bad hollow knocking noises. The transfer through the recoil pad into your shoulder doesn't seem to want to slip or dive underneath your shoulder, and there's no particular spring from the muzzle either. Of course, the sound moderator is effective, and it dampens that for two reasons. The physical recoil from the gas blast is minimised, and of course there's a bit more weight at the end of the barrel, but certainly in the UK and increasingly around the world, sound moderators or suppressors are far more commonly in use, and it does make the rifle very, very comfortable to carry, to use and handle. I put a sling on it to carry around, did a little bit of stalking about with it, didn't get anything with it, but at the end of the day the gun will shoot the bullets it needs to shoot, and I've no problem in essentially trusting it to go hunting with, because I trust it on the range when I've shot 50 rounds through it. So why would it not work in the field when it will work from different shooting positions, from prone? I can add a bipod if I want. I've shot it from sticks, the foreend's stiff enough to shoot from a tripod, so realistically I'm happy with the gun. So what are some of the pros and cons to the Haenel Jaeger NXT? Number one, it's got its own character. You don't see this kind of bolt system around, and once you get used to it, it's fast to operate, you don't have problems with primary extraction, and the safety mechanism on it with a decocker and things like that is exceptionally good. You've got a free floating barrel, the gun seems accurate, the stock is comfortable, and I like the scope mounting procedure. The magazine system, as explained, is my favourite type there is, the twin column polymer. They're quiet, they feed smoothly, you can drop rounds in the side, load them quickly, you can drop rounds in the side and load them into the mag if you want to do for a later shot opportunity. So realistically, the rifle isn't lacking anything at all, and in terms of the groups it shoots, well, that seems to obsess a lot of people who think it's of primary importance. Well, it certainly ticks that box as well, doesn't it? Right, I hope you've enjoyed watching that review. Please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell and keep track of the regular uploads. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.